It's embedded in our culture. It affects us. These for today. Yeah. Oh boy. Never been out of here. No, that's right. Okay, I'll just walk through. Good morning, how are you? Yes, my sympathies. It is going to be a I'm not a bad lawyer.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing all right.
Good, thank you.
Well, I hope you did.
Mr. Sussman.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, they said we're not letting it in. He said, well, that's all. Just enough.
How are we doing, sir? We're going to do it today? What's the over-under?
100%. Don't ask him what direction.
I'll tell them if you're hard to say. I don't know. Can I go with you?
Sure. You know what salon is. Brad, I just
Yeah.
Good morning. Gee, I don't think I have any comments with you. That's who I am. I have this picture on it, so you always tell. I forget.
Yeah, one of the attorneys, probably, yeah.
Bobby. Bobby.
Because when I had the meeting. So I know you have so nice to meet you. Tell about you.
Not a chance. I'm going to move up there.
Yes, sir. I fought the apple for years. I'm giving in. Morning, Mr. Mayor. Giving in. And I just got a MacBook last week. I'm now addicted to that. And I was so opposed to Apple. You gotta give the devil his due. But you need Well, I've got a Wi-Fi right here. I've got a Wi-Fi right here. Let me give you my, since I don't have a card. But Dawson, I think will be where he's flying. Yes, you should get his.
Hello, sir. Doing great.
Fred, here's the. You see this on there? Just log into it. It's right there. I'll plug in Raj's thing, and it can take up to 5. What? TFM overdrive. That's it. That's it. Just log on in. If you have any trouble logging in, let me know. That's my own personal. Yeah. Sprint. Sprint. Yeah, it's really, it's kind of cool. Like when we go on family trips, the Wi-Fi. Yeah. It's great. And the kids eat it up. There. Right. Yeah, it's really, it's awesome. Right. That doesn't work as well in the courthouse across the street.
I appreciate our conversation.
Oh, likewise. Thank you. Morning, Madam Examiner.
Good morning. Let's have a discussion about
Did you drive in from Rocky Gap this morning? Oh my God. Hey, how was that occupied? Did they have a large crowd? It's a hotel filled? Yeah. Yeah. Nice restaurant here. Is this a bar group?
Yes, this November. Right. There's only open next
Wow. 55%? I thought it used to be like... Wow. Jonathan there?
Yeah. Chuck and I were going through numbers earlier today, and we didn't expect it to depends on how far the planning goes. Will not.
Is in the Mark Center.
Joss.
Oh, yeah, the house is selling. Yes, right. Just from right. And the public. It should have ended. Yeah, that's right.
Chris Asher.
I got it. It took me, but I got it.
I know it's different when you're on the app. We've asked and answered every question that I can answer. It's their decision.
All right. We were just discussing. Jason was complaining about that.
I can learn that, if nothing else. Judge Bowie years ago, I had a trial in front of him, my first trial.
Pardon me?
Called him up.
Well, 11.
Said, you got a minute, I'd like you to critique what I did right and what I did wrong. He said, oh, sure, come on down. And his first point to me was, you just don't know when to shut up. He said, you made your point. You don't need to do it 3 or 4 times. I get it. Yeah. I always took that to heart. Make the point. It has everything to do. Learning. Yeah. Learning a lot. This is a good case of learning. Although this is a good one to learn what procedure should not follow.
Well, I think every single, at one point or another, every single zoning matter has come up, like invalidation of zoning has come up in this case.
Yes, it has.
You know,
We've run the gamut.
whether it's relevant or not, it's come up.
It's come up. But you know, this just goes to show you the process that we have here. It's a lengthy process. by using the zoning hearing parameter to do the evidentiary hearing is truly proper. Not having the council.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure it's right. Just for everybody. It's hard for again. It's a manage.
It makes it more difficult for you guys. Because you got to be careful what you do, careful what you put in. Same thing with me. I got to be careful with the objection. Because I can't object too much, because when I object too much, you're going to think I'm trying to hide something. Whereas if it's Mo knows what it is.
It changes the dynamics of the entire thing because it introduces, politics.
Well, politics from your standpoint is good. That's going to be helpful. Politics from our standpoint.
I mean, one way or the other, I actually do feel like it was a great project.
I got to tell you, I always work early on. I looked at the process and the project and everything. It sounds fun, but the project itself is not. I said, "Are you sure you want to approach this thing?" And he said, "Well, we're going to record it." When I first talked to Joe about it,
Yes.
too well, I asked him to take it over.
Chip's got the thing.
And I don't think
Well, we nailed down the right of way. We went up to the Philadelphia to the Federal Court Archives. And
I have one in my office.
oh, really?
I have
politicians are politicians.
Oh, wow.
And that's
I would have offered it, but you said you already had it. I got it.
You're good. All
Yeah,
right.
wow.
See you later.
yes, sir.
Wow, I wish I had it. It seems clear and unambiguous.
Yeah.
Sure. Hey, Raj, okay if I leave my overdrive there? Thank you.
Well, can you say it can't? If someone sends it to you, you can't. People, and what are you going to do?
Here she is. Excuse me?
Correct. We anticipated in the very beginning having more experts than we ultimately did.
That's a good. My daughter in the play. Wow. Yeah, fortunately, she has her mother's genes. Last night. I don't know if she succeeded. I think it's a irresolute. Want to see beauty?
We're not looking to make any.
Last night. We do. Well,
Hey.
I'll email you.
Look at that.
I send I send the county executive an information request. I ask for all communication from or to any council person during a zoning application. And they answer and say, "We got it, but we can't give it to you."
Let me know if it's like what.
If those communications occur after filing it, then
First of all, these are allowable denials.
These sessions archived.
That's not my point. My point is that if the information
Like after, it's being recorded right now. It's
they would
archived.
disqualify these people.
Yes. Well, not, they would have to be, they wouldn't necessarily disqualified, but they would have to,
Let's keep it.
You should stay out of these things.
It's working out.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is the County Council of Prince George's County sitting as a district council. Today is Friday, May the 11th, 2012. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Good morning, Madam Chair.
Good morning here.
Good morning, Mr. Davis.
Morning, here.
Ms. Lehman.
Here.
Mr. Olson.
Here.
Ms. Turner.
Good morning, I'm present.
5 members, President roll call.
Thank you. This morning we will have our invocation led by Mr. Mark Anthony, who is a county employee, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilmember Lehman. Do we have any special intentions? Mr. Anthony, I would ask if you would remember Darrell Joyner and his family who lost his mom. He actually is a constituent of Councilmember Davis, but he is nonetheless a constituent of us all. Her funeral is today in Ohio, so if you could remember Darrell Joyner and his family, please. Also, if you could remember Miss Rosie Woodrick, who lost her mom. Rosie Woodrick is a very active member of the Glenarden community. She lost her mom, and her funeral was yesterday. Her name was Rose Nicholson.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Seeing none, no others, please stand.
Let us pray. Father God, we come to you today thanking you for this again another day. Thanking you for this special session that we're about to embark upon. I pray for the families of Mr. Darrell Jordan and Miss Rose Nicholson, if I have that correct. Father, we also come thanking you for blessing us through everything that we embark upon. Thank you for bringing us here and allowing us to move forward with the things that our constituents would have us to do. Bless us and give us the thought and mind and patience to do the things that are accepted of us. This we ask and pray, and if you would join us in saying the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Mr. Anthony. On behalf of the entire County Council, I want to say early Happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers and those who are like mothers here in the audience and with us today. Additionally, a couple of our colleagues, other council members, will be joining us throughout the day as time goes on. Once again, we are here for an evidentiary hearing on A-10018, the Cafritz property. Calvert Tract, LLC is the applicant, located approximately 1,400 feet north of the intersection of Baltimore Avenue, US 1, and East-West Highway, Maryland 410 on the east side of Baltimore Avenue. It's 37.35 acres in the R55 zone. They're requesting approval for a primary amendment to the Town of Riverdale Park Mixed-Use Town Center Zone Development Plan and rezoning from the R55 zone to the MUTC zone. Technical staff approval with condition, Planning Board approval with conditions. Let's see. On May 7th, the County Council convened an evidentiary hearing on the requested amendment expansion, and the evidentiary hearing was continued to Friday, May the 11th, 2012. We have several people several residents who have come to sign up. They wanted to speak, to give their 3 minutes testimony on this matter, and so we have quite a few. So I'm going to begin calling them. I'm going to ask that you please adhere to the 3-minute time limit as much as possible in order to give everyone an opportunity to speak so that we can move on with the proceedings. I can't talk.
Excuse me, Madam Chair. There is one public official here today. I just wanted to let you know that before you call members of the public.
We will have our we have some public officials. We will allow them to speak. I am going to ask kindly if everyone would please adhere to the time limits that we are setting forth in order that we can move this matter on. The other thing that I would ask is to remember this is not a trial. It is an evidentiary hearing using administrative proceedings. I would ask that those individuals who are asking the questions or cross-examining to please ask the question that you want the answer to, and those individuals who are answering the questions to be clear and concise with your answers so that we can move this on. We have several elected officials that signed up. Elected officials have 5 minutes. All others will have 3. James Geekus, I think I'm pronouncing that correct, and if I'm not, I apologize. He's a council member from Ward 2. Please come to the mic if you want to speak. Please start the clock, Madam Clerk, when they begin.
Madam Chair,
yes, ma'am.
I'm so sorry. While he's approaching, I just want to note for the record that the general plan could be admitted as a document or an exhibit in this matter, and it would be Exhibit 118, the 2002 general plan.
Thank you, Madam Examiner. Did I pronounce it correct?
You did, yes.
Geekus?
Yes, you did.
Mr. Geekus, good morning.
Oh, yes.
Do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you shall give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do. My name is James Geekus. I'm council member, Ward 2, University Park. I live on 4113 Tennyson, of course, University Park. Members of the district council. I was one of the council members. It was a 4-3 vote, and I was one of the council members that voted against the covenants, especially the covenants. And I'd like to tell you why, really. It really happened, it has to do with density, traffic, and the town covenants themselves. The minute the applicant decided to switch over to from, I guess, MUI to MUTZ, for me, the yellow light went on. All of a sudden, boom, that was it. Because, to me, that's just inadequate zoning right there. You take density, excessive density here. University Park, as an example, is 370 acres. Now, we have multiple ways of going in and out. Put in a hotel there, put in an anchor store like Whole Foods, then you put in 100 townhouses, retail outlets, and then you put in, let's say, 800 multifamily units. Then you shrink it down 1/10 the size, 37 acres, and then you only have one way in and out. To me, that's intolerable. And a lot of the citizens, residents in University Park have come to me and just said that. What you have is Delphi Road, you have Route 1 here, and then you have all this cut-through traffic. And, of course, the whole Whole Foods is, let's say, a 10-mile radius. That's the way I understand it. That's excess density. And then you have this traffic study. And again, the way I understand it, the parking planning has very little authority to really do a traffic study before any rezoning. To me, that's you got to have something before you start giving them or grant them or consider rezoning. You have to do that. You have to have a comprehensive study so we get some good idea. And to me, you do it before anything is granted or considered. Comprehensive traffic study. And then you have these town covenants. Because of MUTZ, what you have is, now the town's got to come up with all these conditions. How are we going to enforce those conditions? We have a limited budget to really enforce it, and we have the limited time, and all of a sudden we have to come up with all these conditions and covenants, and in my mind, they're very limited, and they're not that useful. So I'll be very quick here and say that MUTZ, to me, it's not just being modified, it's being covenanted to death. And we're going to have to enforce it as a town. Now, to me, what spooked a lot of the other council members, in my opinion, is that the mayor said in public that essentially this thing is a done deal. So all of a sudden, everybody recalibrated. This is my opinion. And as far as I'm concerned, as elected officials yourself, you have to put yourself in that position, that all of a sudden we have to recalibrate. Well, I didn't recalibrate because of MUTZ. Now, I'd like to enter this in the record, and also I'm open to any questions.
Comments will be Exhibit 119.
Thank you, Mr. Gigas.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure. Please go to the mic so that we can hear you. Remember that it's difficult to hear on those particular mics, so I'd ask you just hold it closer to you.
You were concerned about the money to enforce these covenants. Is that correct, sir?
For the town, yes.
Didn't the developer offer to pay for that, or at least pay some $10,000 for the attorney's fees?
$25,000, and until the district council decides which way it's going to go, if, of course, the district council approves, then the town council, University Town Council, will have to decide whether we should accept the $25,000 or not. We haven't done that yet so far.
Oh, and you're concerned about the traffic, but didn't the developer agree to give you $100,000 for a new policeman?
They did, and to me that's peanuts, because here's what you've got. You've got an office, that's for a one-shot deal for training, and I have the covenant here if anybody wants me to read it. What it is that an officer will cost probably $60,000 approximately, one officer. This $100,000 is a one-time deal. Times 10 years, you can multiply and do the math. It's going to take a lot more than that.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Gigas.
I have it here. Okay.
Mr. David Brosh. You're a little tall, yeah.
Good morning.
Yes.
Sir, do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you shall give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes. Good morning, Madam Chairman and members of the District Council. If you don't mind, I'm going to read my statement because I want to make sure I don't forget everything. And I will try to be brief. My name is David Brosh. My wife, Sharon, and I live in Prince George's County and have been here for 30 years and have been in University Park for 25 of those. I was recently reelected to the University Park Town Council. I voted against the town's official position supporting the Cafritz development and rezoning. I voted that way after lengthy deliberation and weighing the issues and information that were provided by the Cafritz representatives and other officials, detailing the development plan and its likely impacts on the neighboring communities. The University Park Town Council voted 4-3 in favor of Cafritz, but I witnessed firsthand the difficulty each council member had in making that decision and how conflicted some were. I believe there were council members who voted in favor not because they found the Cafritz plan acceptable, but out of fear. The mantra at the time was if we voted against it, University Park would not have a seat at the table as this county process proceeds. During the decades we have lived in Prince George's County, we have witnessed much growth and development, especially along Route 1 and in the vicinity of University of Maryland. We have seen significant increases in traffic on our major thoroughfares. We have attempted daily to travel through the Route 1 East-West Highway intersection that is a failing intersection during rush hours. I was trained as an urban planner years ago when Columbia and Reston were just beginning to be developed as new towns. The idea was to concentrate development along corridors extending out from central Washington and retain green and open space in the region. It was not called smart growth at that time, but its principles and objectives were the same. I've always believed that we should build our communities employing the regional approach and use land wisely, conserve green space, concentrate development, and reduce our dependency on the auto and encourage mass transit. Cafritz describes this proposed plan as smart growth. It is not that by any means or matter or measure. This is a landlocked site wedged between a railroad track, a metro right-of-way, and industrial properties with limited access in or out of the site. The proposed crossing at the CSX tracks to the east will do little to alleviate the huge number of vehicles that will be generated by the development and further burden an overcrowded Route 1. It is also has poor access to mass transit. A member of your county planning staff estimated that the development site, when built out, would add additional 17,000 vehicles daily. Each piece of land given its location, access, topography, and neighboring uses, has a carrying capacity beyond which it should not be developed. This is the case of your home, property, and mine, our neighborhoods, our county, and the greater region. The Cafritz development is too much in too little space, with over 900 housing units, a hotel, and commercial properties. It is ill-conceived and will have serious negative impacts on University Park, Riverdale, College Park, and Hyattsville. Case in point, we already have development sites in Riverdale around the Prince George's Plaza and in Hyattsville that are underdeveloped in the early development stage or failing at this time. Why would we want to bring competing commercial uses to the Cafritz site now? What will happen to the Yes grocery store in Hyattsville if the Whole Foods comes to Cafritz? While a business or developer does not make a decision based on negative impacts on its competition, maybe that is something the county should be considering here, since the viability of Hyattsville ETA is surely important to all of us. It seems that this proposal has been driven by the promise of a high-end grocery store in the county. This is hardly a sufficient reason to upzone. I ask you to reject the Cafritz proposal to rezone this property from its current R55 to an expanded MUTZ zone. Prince George's County deserves far better, and the District Council and our citizenry should demand it. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Brosh. Mayor John Tabori.
Yes.
Mr. Brosh's statement will be Exhibit 120.
Okay.
Good morning. For the record, my name is John Tabori. I'm the mayor of University Park.
Mayor Tabori, do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you shall give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Mayor Tabori, has University Park taken a position on this case?
Yes, they have.
Could you summarize what that position is, please?
Basically, it's
Excuse me, one second. We were trying to offer those individuals who wanted to give their few minutes of testimony first before we got into this. So, Mayor Tabori, if you were just going to give a statement, then I would invite you to do that. Otherwise, I would ask that you allow the other residents who just wanted to give their 3 minutes.
I'm perfectly fine with that.
You want to wait?
Yes, I will wait for now.
All right, well, we'll come back to you, sir.
Thank you very much.
At this point, I'm going to call Mr. David Dorsch. While Mr. Dorsch is coming, I would just remind individuals that at this point, your testimony is 3 minutes. I would ask you to try and adhere to that time limit as much as possible. There actually is on the podium, for those who don't know, a series of lights on the right-hand side of the podium. When your time is winding down, the yellow light will come on, and when your time is up, the red light will be on, and you'll hear a tone. We would ask that you conclude your statements at that point. So, Mr. Dorsch, if you would turn to the zoning hearing examiner.
Mr. Dorsch, do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you shall give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Good morning, Madam Chairman, Council. This is the first time I've ever participated in anything like this.
Madam Clerk, please start the timer. I'm sorry, Mr. Dorsch.
Ready?
Yes.
This is the first time I've ever participated in anything like this, and after I reviewed all the things that a builder has to go through to get a project like this done here, I'm surprised that anyone wants to build a project this size in PG County. I've lived on Calvert Road in College Park for about 35 years, and I'm very familiar with this area of Route 1 from East-West Highway to Calvert Road and beyond. That being said, I'm here again today to support this project. To me, this is what smart growth is all about. Here we have one of the few large undeveloped parcels of land on Route 1 inside the Beltway. It's very close to a very expensive public transportation subway system. It can use the existing water and sewer systems. The existing public safety systems are already in place and most likely adequate to cover this additional development. When I've attended other citizens' meetings in the area, I hear people that want more upscale development in the Route 1, Hyattsville, DeLauro area. They don't like the small food restaurants and bars that typically built along Route 1. I think this development is about as upscale as demographics in this area is going to allow. In this proposed development, we have not only stores but housing. I would think that some people might even work and live in the same development. Isn't this what we all want, walk to work? It'd be nice to have some upscale housing in the area for a change. This land has been growing trees and weeds for over 50 years. It's time to develop it to its highest and best potential, which I believe this development does. I will also add that it will also add to the tax base, which we all know needs all the help it can get right now. I know many are concerned about the added traffic on Route 1, and this is a legitimate concern. It is extremely important that the bridge or bridges be built over the railroad tracks early in the development to allow access to this property from streets other than Route 1. In fact, if other roads could be opened into development from adjacent areas, it would be helpful to everyone. I'm not concerned about the additional traffic on Route 1. In fact, if more is added, we may be able to get the improvements to the traffic and the road structure that we've needed for years. Other people like me, older people like me, are not going to use bikes or public transportation, as many of those who oppose this development would like everyone to do, to carry home our week's worth of grocery shopping. Since I don't have a horse and buggy anymore, I'm going to use my car for hauling groceries to the house. I urge you not to listen to the "don't build anything in my area" group and vote to approve this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dorsch. Mr. Peter Ma.
Do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you shall give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Hi, my name is Peter Ma. I live at 4714 Riverdale Park. I'm in support of the Cafritz mixed-use redevelopment in Riverdale Park. I was born in Washington, D.C., raised in Montgomery County, and I purchased my first home in Prince George's County in Riverdale Park 3 years ago. I'm currently a geospatial analyst at NASA Goddard Space Flight Center, and there are some issues in my neighborhood that I wanted to touch on. First of all, the crime. The first year I lived in Riverdale Park, my car got broken into. The second year I lived there, a burglar entered my home when I was sleeping. And the third year I was there, I was outside gardening. I noticed 4 young juveniles in the vacant home across the street from my house. One of the teenagers was arrested, but the house was eventually deemed as a drug house. There are many abandoned homes, and there's no retail in Riverdale Park. The whole downtown area of Riverdale Park has been rehabilitated. The structures are there, but there's no business, and this has been this way for 3 years. The traffic on Route 1 and East-West Highway is heavy at times, and without any development, it's still going to continue to become heavy. I truly believe that high-density mixed-use redevelopment is the solution. Mixed-use development reduces crime. With increased residents, there will be less vacant homes and more eyes on the streets, provides incentives for our youth, a cultural center with organized recreation, opportunities for employment with the addition of 400 new jobs. High-density residence designs attract yuppies and dinks, double income, no kids, like myself, and provides over $11 million of new tax revenue, which includes a rare opportunity to anchor this site with a Whole Foods market. One can only go on the internet to find out that the Whole Foods effect is when a Whole Foods store opens up and the real estate value improves 10 to 20% around the whole area. The P Street store in Washington, D.C. is a prime example and textbook example. Mixed-use development would reduce car dependency. It would promote compact, high-density, mixed-use, walkable environments close to public transportation, and clearly seeks to reduce problems associated with urban sprawl, such as car dependency, congestion, and pollution. Development with only one single-family home promotes traffic, pollution, and urban sprawl. Vice Chair Olson, didn't you direct the National Sierra Club's Healthy Communities campaign, where you work to include promoting public transportation, creating more walkable, vibrant communities, and combating urban sprawl? I urge the Council to approve this development. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Ma. Were you planning to submit your document?
Yes, I can.
Please.
It'll be Exhibit 121.
Thank you. Mr. Dwight Holmes.
Do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you shall give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Good morning. My name is Dwight Holmes. In my day job, I'm an education economist focusing on the role of education in economic development. The rest of my life, I'm a 12-year resident of Maryland and Prince George's County and a 6-year resident of Riverdale Park. My wife is an entrepreneur and has her own business as an artisan soap maker. Next Thursday proudly marks the 5th anniversary of her vending at the Riverdale Park Farmers Market. We own our home, which is literally around the corner from Town Center and the Farmers Market and just 3 blocks from the failed intersection of Route 1 and East-West Highway. So we're very familiar with the challenges facing our town, including traffic. We're also very much invested in our town and want to see smart growth that will improve the amenity value of the area, making it a more attractive place for us and everyone else to live, while at the same time raise the property values for us and our neighbors. I ride the MARC train to work every day, Every few weeks, I walk over to get my hair cut at Apollo Barberia in Town Center. My wife's a vendor, as I said, at the farmers market every Thursday, and after the market, we walk across the street to have dinner at S&J's. When we need a few groceries, we walk to Dumb's Corner. By the way, we're very excited at its new incarnation, the much expanded and very attractive Town Center Market. I hope you all check it out. It will be opening soon. And I think this is a tribute to the town's Mutzi plan and those who are stewards of it. So good things are happening in our town, but frankly, something bigger has to happen if our town center is truly to redevelop. From the time we moved in 6 years ago, my wife and I had a vision for what our town, and specifically our town center, will someday be. In our vision, what is now just a parking lot with an historic train station, a few businesses and offices, and way too many empty storefronts will be transformed into an attractive and very functional town square we will all be proud of and eager to hang out in. The proposed Cafritz development is critical to making that vision a reality, I believe. The opportunity presented here represents a once-in-a-generation chance to shape the future of Riverdale Park and the surrounding community. It seems to me it's also a test case for our county, an opportunity to shed some of the negative labels and reputation we have acquired over the years. From where I sit, it looks like our town, working closely with neighboring towns, has done an amazing and quite admirable job of working with the developer in some pretty hard-nosed and late-night negotiations to take an original proposal from last year that, frankly, had many of us worried and skeptical, and to turn it by means of a series of thoughtful and enforceable covenants and conditions into a very sound project. Riverdale Park is a community divided by physical barriers, the CSX tracks, an adjoining industrial estate, east-west highway among them. We're a small town, but much less cohesive than we otherwise would be because of these barriers of steel, asphalt, and industrial fences. The successful development of Cafritz can help to ameliorate that and put part of our town back together again, if we do this right. The combination of increased density together with the opening up of new vehicular and pedestrian arteries, along with very strong requirements to promote targeted public transportation, is precisely what we need to boost the town's amenity value while at the same time making the historic town center once again viable. I see I'm out of time. I would urge you to please vote on this proposal for the reasons I've stated above. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes. Did you want to submit your...
There are quite a few handwritten corrections. Can I submit that, or I could submit it by email later with corrections?
Take that one. It's fine. Exhibit 122. Thank you.
Kevin Roy.
You swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you shall give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Kevin Roy. My family and I have lived for the past 7 years in University Park. I'm a professor in the School of Public Health at the University of Maryland, and my wife works at the Pentagon. Our 3 sons attend University Park Elementary and Hyattsville Middle Schools. We participate in sports teams and Science Bowl competitions in the county. We use the bike paths and town bus and tot lot daily in University Park. We anticipate serving on leadership positions in the schools, in the town, and the university for years to come. In a word, we are lifers. We've found our community, and we're investing our time and our resources and our hopes in it. And we are one of hundreds of young families who see fundamental problems with the Cafritz development that threatens the viability of University Park, Riverdale Park, College Park, and Hyattsville communities. This development comes at a great cost that is not carried by the developer, but that will be borne by the families living along the Route 1 corridor. Let me give a clear example of a cost to infrastructure that will be placed directly on my family and our home. Our street, Wells Parkway, is split down the middle by Wells Run Creek. It is 1 block south of the Cafritz property. According to recent studies, our street sits at the lowest point in the nearby region. With increasing displacement of water into the watershed, floods now overflow the banks of the creek with every heavy rain. They have risen over curbs and onto sidewalks, and they are not alleviated by 2 inoperable drainage systems at the end of our streets on Route 1. These systems will not be repaired by the county because there is no current funding to do so. A plan to clear-cut 37 acres and recover wooded land with concrete 1 block from this creek will only exacerbate this flooding. As engineers for the town of University Park have pointed out, the developer has addressed stormwater management, but not floodwater management, when more than a normal amount of rain falls in our area. The cost of this flooding will inevitably be damage to homes on my street. Further, when I look 4 houses from my front door, I see the reality of Route 1, which is a barrier to those of us who live close to Cafritz and that we will not cross. Walking down Route 1 is literally to take your life in your hands at this point. Their children are never seen on that sidewalk. And it's very clear that a marked increase in traffic is a danger to families who live along that road, and the increase in flooding as well tells us that simply this is the wrong place for mixed-use development. I'm struck by the lack of foresight for those who suggest we should take one for the county, that development should be chosen whatever the cost. Our elected officials need to realize that we in these 4 communities are the county. Threatening the fabric of long-standing Prince George's communities along the Route 1 corridor, which are diverse and vibrant with excellent schools, is not smart growth, and it's not smart politics. The fundamental problems will not be fixed by tweaking details later in the planning process. Later in the process will be too late for these families and too late for my family. Thanks so much for taking our community's experiences into your consideration today.
Thank you, Mr. Roy.
Your statement will be Exhibit 123.
Thank you. William Schneider. Schneider.
Good morning. Do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you shall give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members of the council. My name is William Schneider. I live at 6804 Wells Parkway, University Park, Maryland. We've been there about 7 years. I oppose the proposed rezoning of the Calvert Tract. I live in University Park, Ward 6, and since I do tend to use Adelphi Road more than Route 1, the development would not have a big impact on me personally. Still, I feel that the rezoning is not in the best interest of the county overall. My primary concern is whether the economic fundamentals could actually support a mixed-use development on this scale. Every day I come home from the metro station, I go through both the metro shops at Prince George's Plaza and the University Town Center, also a mixed-use development. Both suffer from persistent vacancies. Neither one has lived up to its hopes despite being close to a metro stop. My fear is that if you build it, they might not come. Calvert Tract is only about a mile from University Town Center and farther from a metro stop. I recognize that the rezoning process is not about Whole Foods. Yet, from the way the project is often described, I get the impression that the project's overall viability is hinging on one single tenant's ability to conjure growth. To me, that feels like a precarious basis for moving forward, given the track record of other nearby mixed-use developments. In a world of scarce taxpayer resources, I feel that the county would be better served by shoring up existing developments near existing metro stations first, and only then invest in infrastructure for new developments. Thank you for allowing me to make the statement. I will provide this for the record.
Exhibit 124.
Thank you, Mr. Schneider. Richard Parsons.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the council. My name is Richard Parsons, and I'm here today on behalf of the Suburban Maryland Transportation Alliance.
Would you please turn to the zoning hearing examiner?
Do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you shall give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
One quick question, Mr. Parsons. Are you an attorney?
No.
You will not be allowed to represent the Suburban Maryland Transportation Alliance. Is that what you said?
Yes.
You'll only be able to speak on your own behalf.
Thank you for clarifying. I will speak on my own behalf then. The purpose of my testimony here is to really put this development in a more regional context. May I continue or?
Yes.
Okay. There are a number of studies that have been done looking at the transportation policies in this region, and that's really my primary concern as a resident of this great area that we live in. And one of the things that we found in looking at each of the key transportation corridors in this region is that from a multimodal transportation and land use perspective, we've got to try to marry these things together in order to solve some of the transportation problems we have: congestion, improved access to jobs, housing, and also expanding our transportation options beyond just the single occupancy vehicle. At the regional level, we're looking at better land use as part of these efforts, and it's got to be part of the solution as we look at each of the major transportation corridors, including Route 1. All the recent studies by the Washington Metropolitan Council of Governments, the Transportation Planning Board, most recently among them, have found the best solutions to our transportation problems are multidimensional. They include a combination of improvements to roads, expanded transit options, and rethinking outdated land use concepts along these key corridors in order to make them more inviting places to walk, bike, or ride transit. When you look at the project before you from this broader regional perspective, there's great potential here to achieve a much better result to bring all these elements together and provide a significant economic benefit to the surrounding municipalities, the county, and the region. That's what I would urge you to to support the Cafritz proposal with the agreed conditions. In my view, this would bring a lot of positive change to the entire Route 1 corridor and the region and make this a much more vibrant and focal point for the community. I believe the proposal with the conditions will greatly enhance the corridor and begin the process of creating a more transit-oriented community in this and some of the other surrounding parcels around it. Just as we saw in Arlington and Route 355 in Montgomery County, other places that are going through this similar debate. What you have here before you is really at the low end of what's considered the densities you need to make transit-oriented development work. Which I think, given this site, is probably an appropriate level. But just keep in mind there's a point below which you cannot go and still have functioning transit-oriented development be viable. A lot of the time in the region, we let the perfect be the enemy of the good, and as a result, we don't get the kind of investment we need in our close-in communities to make them really vibrant places. And because we so often say no to higher densities in our region's core, the result is that we drive developers to the default answer, which is continued suburban sprawl in the region's outer fringes. And because it is so much easier to get it approved, that's why that happens, but it makes no sense. Here you have a chance with the developer willing to invest in smart growth, with the financing to make it happen, and you have a plan that is clearly a huge improvement in making this a much more vibrant, transit-oriented community. I would respectfully urge you to support the project. Thank you.
Mr. Parsons, would you please give us your address for the record?
Yes, it is 15812 Emelung Lane in Durwood, Maryland.
Thank you. We have some questions. Please stay at the mic.
Okay.
Ms. Turner.
I'm sorry. I missed the part at the beginning. What organization are you with?
It's a group called the...
Can you speak loud into the mic so I can hear?
It's the Suburban Maryland Transportation Alliance. It's a relatively new group that works on regional transportation issues in the Maryland suburbs of Prince George's, Montgomery, Frederick, and Southern Maryland.
Okay. But he's not testifying on behalf
of
the organization.
I'm testifying as an individual.
Okay. And so you've reviewed the Cafritz plan, or what?
Yes, we have been looking at each of the major development corridors in the region. We have an advisory board composed of...
Your Honor.
Okay.
Okay.
Object. He's now testifying.
Oh, that's true.
About not his personal knowledge.
I can see that that's true.
I'm asking about what you as an individual did. Have you reviewed the plans of the Cafritz? That's what I'm trying to figure out, because I wanted to figure out how you know about this. Yeah.
Well, as an individual, I've served on the Smart Growth Advisory Commission in Montgomery County, and I've looked at regional transportation issues for the last 15 or so years, and it's something I personally care greatly about, which is part of why I've engaged with a lot of organizations that work on this. So I've looked at land use issues as part of that.
And you specifically, my question is, you specifically looked at the Cafritz one?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I've looked at a lot of your materials on the website. I've actually been here for some of the hearings before to listen to what the debate was about. And I've been following development in the whole Washington area for quite a long time.
I want to make sure that I heard you right. You said you think this density is the correct density, and that you even think it might be low. Did I hear that correctly?
Well, for this site, I think it's appropriate, but just keep in mind, I think it's at the low end of what is considered the densities you need to really make transit-oriented development work. If there's not enough concentration of jobs and housing in one location, it's very hard from a regional standpoint to make transit ridership numbers justify the cost of investing in the projects like the Purple Line and some of the other things that I think we need. They need certain densities around the station areas, and this being within half a mile of the future station areas is certainly within walking distance in my experience. I used to live more than that from a transit station and walked every day to Metro.
Okay. My chair is saying make sure that your answers are concise.
Okay,
and then my next one is, and I know that this is my last one, and I know that you weren't qualified as an expert, so I just want to know so that I can weigh your testimony. how many years have you been studying or doing this type of work?
I've been working on regional transportation issues for probably about 15 to 20 years.
Okay,
in
thank you.
various roles. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Olson.
Good to see you again, Mr. Parsons. How are you?
You too. I'm fine.
Just one quick question. Isn't it true that you were one of the major proponents of the Intercounty Connector?
Yes.
Thank you.
And the Purple Line. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, can we ask some questions?
Yes, I would just ask you to remember to just to be as, I understand the cross, but as direct as possible. So, and Mr. Parsons, I'm going to ask you again to be as concise as possible.
Thank you.
Mr. Parsons, who asked you to speak here today?
I was contacted by several people on my board, actually, that are active in land use issues, and this was put on our radar screen. I'm not supposed to answer on behalf of the organization, though, so I was asked through my organization to look at this, and then I got interested in it.
Okay. Are you describing this development as a transit-oriented development?
Yes, I am.
Do you believe that the planning process is very important in a jurisdiction such as Prince George's County?
Absolutely.
So would you say that it is appropriate, if you are going to do a transit-oriented development, that you go through the planning process required in Prince George's County to get that development to fruition?
Yes, that would seem reasonable.
Are you aware that in Prince George's County that in order to designate a development as a transit-oriented development, you cannot do that through this type of piecemeal rezoning process?
I'm not an attorney, and I don't know I don't pretend to be an expert on your planning laws, so I can't really answer that knowledgeably.
If
Mr. Parsons, I just, it's difficult for us to hear up here sometimes with those mics. So I just ask you to try to speak as much into the mic as you can, please.
I'm not an attorney. I'm not an expert on your planning laws, so I don't really know the answer to that.
If that were the case, would it be your best professional opinion that you should go through that process to make this a TDOZ development?
I'm going to object. He's not an expert on the planning process.
I'm not an expert. I don't know how to answer that. Sorry. Okay.
I just have a couple of questions for you, if you don't mind.
Sure.
You suggested that you think transit-oriented development is very important. Is that right?
Yes.
You stated, I think, that this project, the Cafritz project, is within a half a mile of the College Park Metro. Is that right?
And the future station of the Purple Line was the context in which I made that that comment.
Okay. Are you testifying here?
There's also a MARC station.
Are you testifying here today that the front door of this project, which is proposed to be near the intersection of a new Van Buren Street and U.S. Route 1, that is a half a mile from the College Park Metro station that exists today?
It is my understanding that many points in this proposed development are within a half a mile walking radius of the stations I just mentioned.
Okay.
I'm not sure about any specific location.
Have you walked it and have you measured it?
No, I've just read the materials online.
Thank you. Now, let me just ask you a couple other questions. Are you familiar with the high-density transit-oriented development that we have at the Greenbelt Metro Station in Prince George's County?
I'm somewhat familiar with that.
Is there any?
I wouldn't consider that a perfect example. I think it's getting there, but it's not there yet.
Isn't it vacant space, sir?
It's apples and oranges to this site. This is much closer inside the Beltway.
My question is
different
just,
plan.
Is there high-density transit-oriented development currently at the Greenbelt Metro Station?
I would say for that site, not enough density to make it work, no.
Thank you. Currently?
Currently, yes.
Not enough. Okay. Now, let me ask you if
but
there is...
every site's different.
Let me ask you if there is currently high-density transit-oriented development at the West Hyattsville Metro Station, which is also in Prince George's County, not too far from the location of the Cafritz property.
I'd have to look at that one more closely.
Do you know, sir?
No.
Okay.
I'm trying.
He said he didn't know.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Do you want to repeat that
I'm trying to
answer?
listen to her, and I'm sorry.
We understand, but it is just difficult for us.
Right.
Would you like to repeat that answer?
I don't know that project very well, so I can't really answer that one.
Thank you. And are you familiar with the bankrupt University Town Center transit-oriented, high-density residential mixed-use
I'm going to have to
development?
object. I mean, there's nothing in this record that University Town Center is bankrupt.
Sorry, I withdraw that question. Are you familiar with the Metro Shops at Prince George's Plaza / University Town Center development?
I would say passingly familiar. I'm also familiar with Bethesda, Silver Spring, a lot of developments in Darlington where this model has really worked.
Yeah, I understand, but we're just talking about Prince George's County.
Right. Well,
So-
I cover the whole. I've been following the whole region, so my knowledge of any one specific jurisdiction is not at the expert level that you're asking me.
I understand, sir. Let me ask you again. Are you familiar with the transit-oriented development that is currently in place at Prince George's Plaza in the Hyattsville area now?
Only at the surface level.
Okay. And are you familiar with the proposed transit-oriented development for the College Park Metro Station at M Squared area?
I have looked into that in the past and have some knowledge, but again, I'm not an expert on any of these specific areas.
Okay. And would you agree with me that all four of those locations that I've just mentioned are appropriate for high-density transit-oriented development since they're all located on metro stops?
Yes.
Thank you.
Anything else? Can I submit this for the record, please?
Yes, it'll be Exhibit 125.
Okay, thank you.
I was just reminded that we actually did not go in order, so as far as cross-examination, so I would ask that if you're going to cross-examine someone, to make sure that you speak up before the council members. Council will speak last. So I apologize for that. Our next speaker is Randy Davis. Ms. Davis, you may have to adjust the mic a little bit because you're a little shorter than the last speaker, and it does bend up and down.
Ms. Davis, do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you shall give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Ms. Dave, oh, I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the District Council. My name is Randy Davis. I am a long-term resident of University Park and member of our Women's Club, a mother of two highly successful daughters who graduated from our Prince George's County Public School System, a registered architect and board member of the Potomac Valley chapter of the American Institute of Architects, a LEED accredited professional with specialty in building design and construction, and a local business owner. The work that I do is rooted in understanding the best practices of design and construction. Best practices in design begins with the site. Design without the site is an uninformed diagram. The site before us today is physically hemmed in on three sides, open only to Baltimore Avenue, near the soon-to-be failing intersection of Route 410 East-West Highway. The site is a greenfield, a mature forest, surrounded by well-treed historic residential neighborhoods. There is no infrastructure on the site. Aside from a minor geographic adjacency, this site and this proposed development is not physically and not visually connected to the area as is necessary to meet the specific purposes of the MUTC zone. To create with the community a development framework that can capitalize on the existing fabric of the county's older commercial mixed-use centers and corridors, this development would need to be outward-looking, extending beyond its borders into the community. The site does not allow this development to do this. This is why the site has always been zoned and envisioned for residential. We have been presented with a project that features a freestanding grocery store with surface parking at the entrance, reminiscent of a suburban strip shopping center, an adjacent hotel, the suggestion of drive-through uses on the site, and a proposal of high-density residential, which has missed every opportunity to be a basis for community through the separation of these residents with the commercial activity on site. Respected members of the District Council, you are the experts on community. You have dedicated yourselves to work for your communities every day, and you represent long-term commitment and sustainability. Calling something a mixed-use town center doesn't make it so. This is anything but a mixed-use town center. This is an inappropriate development on a restricted site that has one purpose, and that is to provide a development pad for Whole Foods regardless of the cost to the community. The inwardly focused and segregated design has the potential to encourage crime and blight, not economic vitality. Given the restricted features of this site and the lack of existing infrastructure in place, this project does not comply with the specific purposes of the METC zone. I encourage you to deny the application for rezoning. In closing, may you and your families have a very happy Mother's Day.
Thank you so much, Ms. Davis. You're submitting your testimony?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Exhibit 126.
Next, we have Alexa Belay. Ms. Belay, we will need you to read your or recite your address for the record.
Sure. My name is Alexa Bailey. I live at 6907 Rhode Island Avenue in College Park.
Ms. Bailey, do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you shall give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. I am a faculty member in the Department of Biology at the University of Maryland, a resident of College Park, and an undergrad alum of the University of Maryland. In the 10 years since moving back here for my job, I have seen significant developments in our area that have improved our quality of life and retail options, and I look forward to further positive additions on the horizon. I am eager to see Prince George's County and the College Park, Riverdale Park, University Park area attract more exciting, quality retail. I enthusiastically support the establishment of more and better housing options in the area. I am deeply committed to smart growth, walkable businesses and neighborhoods, and transient-oriented development in this area that I call home. And I am personally invested in the success and rising status of the University of Maryland. For all of these reasons, I strongly oppose the rezoning of the Cafritz property to METC. Why? When I was hired by the university, I made a very deliberate choice to live close to the university. But many of my faculty colleagues do not make this choice. This has recently been recognized as a serious problem by the university, which has a new focus on encouraging faculty and staff to live closer to campus. I believe that the continued success and rise of the University of Maryland should be a great concern, not only for the communities immediately surrounding the campus, but for all of Prince George's County. Recruitment of excellent faculty is critical to the success, and in my experience, interacting with prospective faculty who are considering coming to the university, the area surrounding the campus poses several real challenges. First, the surrounding area does not feel much like a college town. It's often seen as unattractive, car-oriented suburban sprawl. Concentrating development in existing downtown areas, including areas close to campus, rather than extending the sprawl along Route 1, would have major benefits. We need to develop a walkable and transit-accessible area surrounding the campus and allow existing centers to grow and flourish. Second, there is a severe lack of appropriate housing for prospective faculty members and staff. Those of us who are actually involved with recruiting faculty and who actually talk with colleagues who already live here know that whether we like it or not, rental apartments are simply not what most of them are looking for. Young, top-caliber faculty are often moving here with families, as I did when I arrived. They are looking for detached, single-family homes. That is exactly the type of homes that the current zoning and the county master plan allow for the Cafritz property. Currently, the university faculty who live close to campus live mainly in two neighborhoods, Calvert Hills and College Park, the residential neighborhood just north of the Cafritz property, and University Park, the residential neighborhood just west of the Cafritz property. But the housing stock and range of family home options here is limited. Recruitment of top quality faculty would be greatly facilitated by providing them with appealing places to live close to campus. For this reason, in my view, changing the zoning of the Cafritz property from R55 to commercial would represent an extraordinary wasted opportunity, as this is the last large tract of R55 property in the area. I believe developing this land according to the master plan and as the law currently allows would provide many benefits to the university, local communities, and Prince George's County.
Ms. Belay.
I'm going to, that's my last sentence. In my opinion, building in another big shopping mall a mile down the road will not help this area. Providing appealing housing options close to campus and nurturing the development of a true college town and limiting local sprawl will help. I urge you to reject the rezoning. Thank you.
Thank you, and I apologize for mispronouncing your name. It's Bailey. Ms. Bailey, thank you.
Statement will be Exhibit 127.
Thank you. William Pittman. Mr. Pittman, we'll also need you to recite your address for the record.
I live at 4412 Van Buren Street, University Park, Maryland.
And would you turn to the zoning hearing examiner?
Mr. Pittman, do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you shall give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Honorable Chair and District Council members.
Can you pull the mic up just a little bit? Thank you.
I am testifying as an individual and a resident of University Park. I'm also an urban planner with 34 years of experience in the state of Maryland. As a senior planner for neighboring Calvert County, my job is to promote development and at the same time assure that projects comply with the county's comprehensive plan, master plans, and zoning regulations. And hopefully both the applicant and the public will benefit. So I see myself as being pro-development. That said, the proposed development may well be the right kind of development for our county, Prince George's County, but it is unfortunately proposed in the wrong location. In my opinion, it is crystal clear that the proposed rezoning application is contrary to directives and the intent of the 1994 Master Plan for Area 68 and the 2004 Muncie Development Plan for Riverdale Park. The proposed use of the Muncie Zone represents a misuse of the intent of the Muncie Zone. The rezoning application represents an abandonment of the 94 Master Plan for the Area 68 as well as the 2004 Riverdale-Muncie Plan. It further appears to me that the applicant is attempting to use the 2002 General Plan as their leading document to support their request for rezoning and the creation of a new mixed-use center. This approach is flawed in that the leading and controlling document remain the 94 Master Plan for Area 68 and the 2004 Muncie Development Plan. If a general plan is approved subsequent to a master plan, the general plan may only supersede the master plan to the extent specified in the general plan approved resolution. And I got that from page 2 of the 2002 general plan resolution. And the general plan resolution overrides the 94 master plan only as a overall county goals and policies and not as to the specifics. The documents that I have referred to, the 1994 master plan for the area 68 and the 2004 Riverdale Park Muncie Development Plan represent extensive time and effort on the part of the county leaders, county staff, and the citizens alike, and culminate in two plans which establish a partnership as to how the planning area would develop or redevelop with emphasis on revitalization. The rezoning application proposes a significant deviation from this partnership and, if approved, will seriously harm the ability of the historic downtown centers to further develop. Approving the applicant's rezoning application would betray the public's trust and adverse impact on the existing partnership between the county and the area residents. The rezoning would also permanently damage the integrity to the 94 master plan and the Muncie plan by setting precedents with regard to future rezoning applications. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. I'm sorry, Mr. Pittman. Mr. Pittman, are you submitting your test? Oh.
Madam Chair, may I ask a few questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Pittman, one of the things you stated was this project is not within the intent of Muncie. How do you come to that conclusion?
Well, reviewing the Muncie, the purposes of the Muncie plan, it talks about redevelopment of existing commercial development for the most part. And certainly this site is not that. And it's not within the established boundaries that have been within the proposed town center areas or the existing historic town centers, and it certainly deviates from the boundaries established for the 2004 Muncie Plan.
Did you review the 1994 master plan for this subregion? And I see you have a map right here also. Is this plan, for the Cafritz property, is it all consistent with what is in the 1994 master plan? Or
Objection. This witness is not qualified as an expert.
this is
Sustained.
Did you review the master plans?
Yes, I did. The 94 plan.
And I believe the master plan is in evidence. You brought a map with you today. Can you tell us what that is, and are you going to put that into evidence?
Well, I hadn't gotten to it. I ran out of time. But the plan, the two maps I wanted to present were working documents that led to the 94 master plan, identifying the areas that were designated for growth and how they were to develop, and ultimately did get adopted in the draft master plan, and then further developed in the Muncie plan.
Did you actually compare the document or the map that you have with you with the 94 master plan and the Muncie plan, and did you see similarities?
Yes, I did see some similarities.
I'm going to have
yes.
to check, Ms. Gray. May I see the document you're referring to, this poster board? Turn it around, please. All right, so this is essentially an excerpt from the Planning Area 68 July 1993 plan. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. I will object to the document itself because it's not the complete document. This is already in the record. You can ask questions with regards to it, but not this particular document.
Just for clarification, can you tell us the exhibit number?
The master plan is Exhibit 117, General Plan Exhibit 118, and the Riverdale Park MUTC Zone Development Plan is Exhibit 116.
Mr. Pittman, may I see that document again, because I believe this is not in evidence. What is this? Would you identify what the title of this map is?
But I have a question. I'm sorry. I have a question too. I have a question for process for the examiner. I'm sorry. I have a question. He came up for his 3-minute testimony, and now she's asking questions that wasn't on his 3-minute testimony. So my question is, because I think they put on their case, and now we're going over their case again in the sense. So my question is he allowed, I'm just asking for process, is he allowed to testify, or is she allowed to ask questions that wasn't part of his direct testimony?
Generally not, unless the council were to approve it, since the rules of evidence are relaxed. But you're correct that he went beyond his 3 minutes. And also, the master plan itself is the document that was approved. So unless there's some foundation as to those maps being something this council approved, I don't know the relevancy.
And the maps are part of the master plan. They are
yes,
part of the
except Ms. Gray said those aren't. So if they're not, I don't know what the relevancy would be.
They're not the adopted plan, and we do object to their admission.
You said,
what are they?
If. I'm sorry, Mr. Maloney. Did you say if?
They are not the adopted
if they are
plan,
not.
and we would object to their admission. The adopted master plan is in.
It's in the record.
It's in the record already.
Right, but I think if it is the planning board's adopted master plan and the endorsed sectional map amendment that is relevant to what was actually part of the entire planning process.
But Ms. Gray, it's only an excerpt of a very voluminous document. Any document that is part of the master plan process for Planning Area 68, this council can take administrative notice of. This document is not, and therefore it should not be offered into this record or become part of this record. You can ask him general questions about Planning Area 68 and what was adopted.
I think this, well, if the council is going to, it may be relevant, and if it is considered part of the record and the council can take judicial notice of it, then that's fine. But I think that, at least from what I can see right now, this document sheds light on the...
It possibly might, but this is the problem here. One, the applicant has not offered this gentleman as a witness. He is not qualified as an expert with regards to land planning or anything else. So the questions you are attempting to ask him, he cannot give an answer to. As a lay person, as a resident, he can respond to your general questions, but not give an opinion as an expert with regards to these documents.
I'm not asking him to give an opinion as an expert. I'm just, any person can come up and look at one map and another and determine whether the physical boundaries, for example, of one map are the same or similar to the next.
If that's all you want to ask him that.
Okay. Mr. Pittman, have you looked at the physical boundaries of what was proposed in what I see it's called the endorsed sectional map amendment? And let's see, what's the other, the inside page?
Are we going back to the same thing?
Well, I'm asking him whether he's looked at the boundaries of the various planning documents.
Ms. Gray, a moment ago you said this is an item that was endorsed by the Planning Board, but in the master plan and SMA process, the Planning Board, and I agree that Planning Board and staff are experts, but what they're doing is presenting a initial document that's ultimately approved by this body, and it's the document that has been adopted by this body that is the actual master plan that's here. So I guess in argument you could say there was one version, but the council adopted another, but I don't know how a lay witness showing what... I'm so sorry. Is that Ms. Stair? I always forget. If that's the actual one, that's the one the council can talk about, and maybe
just for the record, I'm holding up the pull-out map called Planning Area 68 Comprehensive Plan, approved May 1994, which is, I believe, part of Exhibit 116. Is that right?
The master plan's 117.
Part of Exhibit 117.
Okay. And then the council's other issue was he had gone beyond his 3 minutes. So if you have questions about what he stated originally, that's your cross. Maybe another witness needs to come forward with whatever you want to say about the plan that was adopted.
Ms. Webb, his statement was it's not within the intent of Muncie and it's an abandonment of the 1994 master plan. And I'm trying to get him to specify why he believes those two statements are the case.
So that's the question. Mr. Pittman, answer that question, please.
Okay.
And can you speak into the mic
Sure.
so we can hear you?
Repeat the question.
The question is, why do you say that this project is not within the intent of Muncie and it reflects an abandonment of the 1994 master plan?
Well, the 94 master plan, in my opinion, first of all, never addressed the property that is known as Cafritz. It was for a commercial node or any kind of town center, any kind of commercial development. It was residential, parkland, public land was the proposal for it. And the Muncie plan in 2004 was an upgrade to the 94 plan, in my opinion, that further addressed Riverdale Park as a growth area, as a town center, more or less. Whereas the 94 plan had addressed it, but then didn't actually go that route, had made reference to it. But then the Muncie plan updated that and made the Riverdale Park historic town, downtown, and corridor.
Ms. Gray, again, I must object here. He's attempting to give an expert opinion on documents, telling us what he thinks those documents say or did not say and how they relate to one another. In addition, it's repetitive, it's redundant. We've been over this with park and planning staff, several other experts. We've heard his lay opinion that he thinks it doesn't comply with MUTC. That's as far as we should go. I will object to any more cross-examination of this witness on the issue of the master plan.
I'll withdraw the question then.
Okay.
Sir, you can give me your written statement if you like.
Exhibit 128.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Eve Miller. Well, maybe is it Muller? I'm sorry, Muller. I noticed the two little dots over what looks like a U.
Ms. Muller, do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you shall give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to begin by stating that I, like many of my neighbors, am not opposed in principle to development along the Route 1 corridor. Quite the contrary. I've lived in Old Town College Park for 12 years and would dearly love to see downtown College Park rejuvenated in the same thoughtful way that downtown Hyattsville is currently being developed. I would also very much like to see a Whole Foods or other quality grocery store in my neighborhood. Our community is in serious need of such a thing, but I feel that residents' hunger for a Whole Foods and all it represents is being used by the Cafritz developers as a means of keeping many of us from speaking out against what is otherwise a terrible development plan. So why do I think the Cafritz plan is all wrong for this particular tract of land? The main reasons for my opposition are as follows. First, the enormous scale of the development is completely out of sync with existing traffic infrastructure in adjacent neighborhoods and along the Route 1 corridor. Second, and related to this, I'm concerned that the scale of the project with its extensive retail space would draw tenants away from existing retail spaces along Route 1 and exacerbate the urban blight problem we already face. Third, the developer's plan to clear-cut the entire property and replace it with acres of surface parking is at odds with the principles of urban infill. Along Route 1, there are already a number of abandoned car lots and vacant buildings. If we're so committed to bringing a Whole Foods to our community, which is the only part of the Cafritz proposal that appeals to many of us, why not build it in one of these existing spaces? Fourth, the Cafritzes purchased the property with the understanding that it was zoned residential. The developer clearly benefits handsomely from a change in zoning, but considering the potential cost to the community, I believe this rezoning should only take place if the community overwhelmingly supports it. Rezoning this property would set a terrible precedent for developers in Prince George's County to buy up parcels of land zoned as residential and simply get them rezoned in order to capitalize on their investments without regard for the wishes of the surrounding community. If you approve this rezoning proposal, our quality of life will go down while the Cafritz's property values go up and up. This simply isn't fair and can be effectively considered a taking, permanently interfering with residents' use and enjoyment of their properties. Which brings me to my final point. I am deeply troubled by what feels to me like a strong-arm technique by the developers, the county executive, and a handful of politicians to force this rezoning through in spite of strong community opposition and a preponderance of evidence for why a MUTC designation is inappropriate. I sincerely hope that the District Council will side with the steady stream of residents who have missed work and paid for extra child care in order to enumerate the countless ways in which the Cafritz proposal is bad for the community and bad for Prince George's County. Please do the right thing and stand with us in opposing the Cafritz proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Muller. Kelly Luschau Deneen.
The statement will be Exhibit 129.
It's okay.
My name is Kelly Luschau Deneen. I live at 4715 Norwich Road in College Park, Maryland.
Ms. Deneen, do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you shall give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. I'm here as a new resident to Prince George's County, but I have grown up in this area for the last 35 years. I recently purchased our home in College Park, Maryland, and I came here today to voice my opposition to the Cafritz property for all of the reasons that these very well-educated and well-spoken people have stated, but mostly just from the common sense perspective, that if you simply put this much retail space, 900 multifamily units into this very small section of our neighborhood with only one way in, one way out, that the density, pressure, driving cars, and finding just, it goes beyond traffic. I just can't imagine the number of people and the amount of infrastructure pressure that something like this would put on not only our county reserves, but our local reserves as well. So I'm just here to state that I'm opposed to the Cafritz property. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Is it Leshow?
Leshow.
Leshow, Deneen. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. John Parker.
Good morning, everyone. My name is John Parker. I live at 5900 Cleveland Avenue in Riverdale Park.
Mr. Parker, do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you shall give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Mr. Parker, you have to speak a little louder for us and closer to the mic.
Okay. I've been living in Riverdale Park now for nearly 25 years. I raised my family there, a daughter, son who's off to college this year. I like it there. What I wanted to do was point out one thing that I think is going to create a really terrible problem in our town. And as this development happens. And it is something that, to my knowledge, has never been fully examined. Right now, any cut-through commuter traffic in Riverdale only goes from Kenilworth Avenue to Route 1. If Maryland Avenue is extended through the property and you can access Route 1 north of Queensbury and East-West Highway, bottleneck that's there, you're creating a bypass that will ruin the neighborhood streets, I think. Opening up Maryland Avenue to the north is not going to provide a life-saving or a life-giving stream of visitors to our historic town center. Quite to the contrary, it's just going to send a flood of drivers through our town who want to get somewhere else. You can we talk about uniting communities, but what you really are doing is destroying neighborhoods because people aren't they're not coming to our community, they're just coming through. It'll crush the farmer's market because it becomes a pain in the neck to get there, and the shopping experience will be like that of browsing a turnpike rest area. And forget about more traffic for other retail opportunities. People looking for a shortcut don't stop and they don't shop. And page 14 of Riverdale Park's own MUTC development plan says it best. Maryland Avenue runs through the historic core parking lot, which creates an unsafe condition for pedestrians because the industrial vehicles passing through the parking lot. And to that, a few thousand frustrated commuters every day, and you have destroyed a historic area and created a disaster area. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Parker.
And put your statement in. It'll be Exhibit 130.
Janet Trinella.
Or affirm under penalties of perjury that the testimony you shall give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, state your name and address for the record.
Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the District Council. My name is Janet Chernella. I'm a resident of University Park, and I live at 4408 Van Buren Street, which is only 1.5 blocks from US 1. It's my street which will be seriously impacted by this project. It's the intersection between US 1 and Van Buren Street, just 1.5 blocks away from where I live, where there is a proposed light, traffic light. The suggestion being that traffic will move right through Van Buren Street. Let me tell you the conditions of Van Buren Street now. At the moment, it's very difficult for 2 cars to proceed down Van Buren Street simultaneously and pass one another without one of the 2 cars driving aside and temporarily stopping. Those are the present conditions on Van Buren Street. There are sidewalks on both sides of the street, and the street is no bigger than just a small extension beyond the widths of, as I say, 2 cars. Presently, there's parking along one side of the street that's allowable. I assume that if this becomes a thoroughfare, there will be no parking permitted on either side of the street. I've been living in University Park for nearly 20 years. My husband and I love our home. We love our community. And we made a major investment when we bought what was our first home. University Park is a safe neighborhood. We don't want to sacrifice the quality of life of that neighborhood. It's a treed neighborhood. It's a vital, vibrant neighborhood. And all of that would be sacrificed if this development plan were to go through. I feel that the traffic is not sustainable. I feel that the conditions that we would be forced to accept are not those that we expected when we invested in our homes. We would lose the quality of life. We would lose the values of our homes, and we would be submitted to overcrowding, dangerous conditions, and a reduced quality of life. I therefore beg the council to please reject this rezoning request.
Thank you, Ms. Trinella. Jonathan Sill.
Mr. Sill, do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you shall give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. My name is Jonathan Sill. I live at 4516 Albion Road in College Park, Maryland. I'm not a lawyer or a town planner. Nobody put me up to coming here today. I'm here at my own interest. I do see the Cafritz property every day out my front doors. It's across the street and just across the little metro strip of land. My understanding is that the question before the district council is whether or not to rezone the Cafritz property and whether that's in the best interest of the county. That question can't be addressed by reviewing a preliminary site plan or a detailed site plan, especially plans that assume rezoning rather than addressing the more fundamental concerns of existing residents. I understand an interest in taxes that could be used to improve the county. But the way to improve the county is not by rezoning to install cheaper housing that neither complements the surrounding communities nor sustains the property value of existing residents already suffering in our economy. We have University Town Center. We have Hyattsville's Arts District just a mile south, and we have East Campus on the way. University Town Center, an existing mixed-use property 1.5 miles from the Cafritz property, has businesses going belly up. And a lifestyle Safeway that the developer originally promised as part of that is nowhere to be seen. Wells Fargo had to take over multiple properties when there was existing management went bankrupt or had problems last year. And they're still trying to fill 112 units of high-density housing, not that far away. Yet it was developed by the same developer that did successful downtown Silver Spring. And University Town Center has a metro stop across the street. I know there's no metro stop at the Cafritz property, and I know there's no reasonable transit access for Cafritz except Route 1. That may be acceptable for the existing plan of a community of single-family homes, but it's crazy to think of for high-density housing and retail, which has plans to hold more households than many of the nearby neighborhoods in total. My understanding is that development will require extensive and expansive infrastructure during a time of, let's say, a constrained budget. I would think that the county would want to concentrate on more suitable developments such as East Campus, which actually comply with the county's stated commitment to a transit-oriented development and has a walkable metro stop. It would be poor public policy to shift resources away from underutilized and blighted areas and away from existing transit centers and in-place infrastructure to pursue a developer's dream, which is highly debatable in concept, widely opposed in the community, clearly controversial, and frankly high risk to produce positive results. Developers present beautiful pictures of the proposed developments, but they're rarely realized without proper planning and infrastructure. The proposed rezoning doesn't seem to have that planning and infrastructure from what I understand. Frankly, there are far better properties in the area to produce, develop, enhance, or redevelop than Cafritz. It's an awkward piece of land that sits behind a post office distribution facility with train tracks on one side, neighborhoods north and south. And I would urge the District Council to deny this rezoning request. It's not in the best interest of the county in general, nor of the citizens and neighborhoods that border it. My name is Jonathan Sill. I live across the street, and I vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sill. Do you have written testimony? Okay.
It's of high enough quality, but yes.
Statement will be Exhibit 131.
Jonathan McNamara.
Correction, the first name is Joseph, not Jonathan.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't talk or read today. I apologize, Mr. McNamara.
I guess I should have printed.
Mr. McNamara, do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you shall give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. I'm here to oppose the rezoning. I have lived on Albion Road for over 30 years. I have driven Route 1 for over 30 years. It is a congested, very hard to navigate street as it is. I know the traffic management people say that the number of vehicles on it is permissible, adding several thousand trips per day would be permissible. Well, drive it every day, try to enter it every day, or wait at any of the numerous lights along Route 1 and wonder how many cycles is it going to take me to get through here. You may have a different opinion. And as I said, it's an unnavigable, frustrating street. If you go from alternate Route 1 in Hyattsville to Route 193 in College Park, it's a 3-mile section of Route 1, which this development is right smack in the middle of. There are 20 traffic signals. Now, I know it's been talked about, well, we'll synchronize the traffic signals. Well, what happens when a storm goes through, which does on a regular basis and knocks out the power? But the main thing is the discussion should not be why, synchronizing the signals. The discussion should be, why exactly has the State Highway Administration saw necessary to put this many traffic controls? Is it due to large numbers of vehicles? Is it due to the large number of vehicles turning on and turning off of Route 1? Is it due to the number of pedestrians trying to cross Route 1? If this property is rezoned and is developed, you are talking about approximately 51,000 square feet of development per acre. Now, that is a lot of development, and it's going to produce a lot of vehicles, and I suspect that the State Highway Administration is going to have to put up a lot of more signals, and it's just going to become much more frustrating. The Route 1 410 intersection, that is already desperately in need of a second left turn signal going north, and there is no development. Also, the thought or the conversation of walking from this development to the College Park Metro. Is it possible? Yes. Is it going to be done? Probably not. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. McNamara. Jordan Boyd Graber? Graber.
Mr. Graber, do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you shall give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Hi, good morning. My name is Jordan Boyd Graber. I'm a resident of College Park, 4703 Harvard Road, and an assistant professor at the University of Maryland in the Institute for Advanced Computer Studies. There are three very personal reasons why I support this development. One, my wife and I chose to live in College Park so that we could have a sustainable existence. And so we bike, we walk to work. In fact, almost all of our daily life is built around not using a car. And the one part where we have been unable to completely remove the car from our lives is in getting quality food. And I believe the development that could bring in a quality supermarket like Whole Foods would allow us to really live the sort of sustainable life that we want to live. And I think that dense mixed development is a way to alleviate traffic in the long run. And having mixed-use development where people can live and work near each other without driving is a solution to do that. Secondly, I believe that the Cafritz property fills a hole. I often collaborate with folks at M Square, so I work at people with the Center for the Advanced Study of Language and at Rayathon, and I go there, I work with them in the morning, and we decide where to go to lunch, and about half the time we end up going to Silver Spring, which I think is just silly. And if there were good development that's connected, that had quality eating establishments where you could take, say, a government funding agency representative to go out and have a nice dinner in College Park, I think that would really speak to the sort of community that we're trying to build. And thirdly, I, like many people at the University of Maryland, we're trying to get faculty to live in College Park. And when I talk to my young colleagues who are looking, comparing College Park against places like Ithaca, Princeton, Ann Arbor, College Park really falls short. It lacks many of the amenities that they would like to see. And I think that this sort of development is a step in the right direction to building the sort of college town that could be associated with a world-class university. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Boyd Graber. Mary Chadwick.
Ms. Chadwick, do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you shall give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
My name is Mary Chadwick, and I live in Calvert Hills section of College Park, 7102 Rhode Island Avenue. And I oppose the rezoning of the Cafritz property. This property is approximately 36 acres of urban woods. The trees are at least 50 years old, and it's teeming with wildlife. With rezoning, the developers will bulldoze the property, replace it with 36 acres of buildings, parking lots, a lot of cement, and at this point, the infamous Whole Foods, their version of a carrot on a stick. I understand 5 trees will remain. It doesn't sound like a good trade to me. This is a landlocked piece of property. The only access to this property is US 1. Traffic congestion at the present time is overwhelming, and the presence of a high-density development would only add more congestion and more pollution to the surrounding communities. I understand that one of the criteria for the granting of a developer to develop this type of development is that it would enhance the community. This would not enhance our community. It doesn't even integrate into our existing community. The only plus for this development is for the developer. This is not smart growth. It is the wrong plan for this site. There are many areas in PG County for this type of development. I respectfully request the council to deny applicants' MUTC rezoning requests. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Chadwick. Leo Shapiro.
Hi, my name is Leo Shapiro, 6907 Rhode Island Avenue, College Park.
Mr. Shapiro, do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you shall give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I absolutely do. We've heard the process that's brought this case before you to this point, called a model of consensus. Please note that the City of College Park strongly opposed this rezoning. As a consequence, in a surprise move on the morning of the Planning Board hearing, the applicant sliced College Park out of the proposed MUTC zone, not because any substantive facts or plans or vision had changed, but simply because they were trying to dodge the legal requirement that if a municipality in the proposed MUTC zone objects to the new zoning, it can only be imposed by a supermajority of 6 affirmative votes. The technical legality of this excision of College Park may have to be resolved in the courts, but there can be no doubt it violated the spirit of the law. The portion of the property in College Park remains essential to the project and to the negotiated conditions, and the impacts of the proposed rezoning on the adjacent residential neighborhood in College Park would be indisputably extreme. This is precisely why the supermajority requirement was written into the MUTC statute, to protect municipalities from having a MUTC zone forced on them, and it is why approving this application should still be understood to require 6 votes. Meanwhile, in University Park, the recommendation for approval squeaked through by just 4-3, and it is no secret that this vote would come out quite differently if it were taken today. In both towns, residents overwhelmingly opposed this rezoning for a variety of sound and relevant reasons. I certainly would not call this a consensus in favor of rezoning. Other questionable strategies have been pursued as well. The applicant has enlisted the services of a large team of experts for hire, and these goal-oriented experts have not always acted with the honesty and integrity one might hope for. A conspicuous low point was the creation of a fake grassroots citizens group, phone banking from Delaware. This was so egregious the applicant's attorney actually apologized for it after the scam was exposed. But this and other examples should remind us just how much is at stake for the applicant. Those of us who live in the surrounding area may not have enormous profits at stake, but our vested interest runs quite a bit deeper. This community is our home. Why are the overwhelming majority of residents in our communities opposed to the proposed rezoning and development? Because smart development is more complicated than packing in the most people per square foot. The proposed project depends fundamentally on generating tens of thousands of additional car trips each day, not exactly a hallmark of modern smart growth. The claims that this development would be well served by public transit amuse local residents, but they may be taken seriously by those unfamiliar with the area who see only PowerPoint slides presented by consultants paid to sell the project. The dramatically increased congestion in an area already burdened by traffic would strangle our roads and pollute our air. Adding a volume of rental units equivalent to the number of homes in all of University Park, an area 10 times the size of the Cafritz property, would inevitably destabilize the surrounding communities. A fundamental principle of smart growth is matching projects with appropriate sites, and in this count, the project fails miserably. Prince George's County needs to pursue a vision of encouraging and approving the right development in places that make sense, not in whatever arbitrary location happens to be proposed by a particular developer. Our area has no shortage of abandoned shells downtown or actually close to public transit. We should be reviving those rather than constructing a huge automobile-centered development that will suck the life out of the already struggling retail centers we have now, the exact opposite of what MUTC was designed to do. What sort of vision is this? The proposed development is fundamentally incompatible with the surrounding neighborhoods. There are good reasons why the current zoning and the county master plan that, by law, is supposed to guide development here do not permit a project like this at this site. It's the wrong project for the wrong location, regardless of which well-connected developer or politician wants to make it happen. Is this the best we can do? I am confident your vision for leading Prince George's County into the 21st century is bigger and better than this. I believe approving the application before you would be illegal, unwise, irresponsible, short-sighted, and embarrassing for our county, and would send the wrong message to the many in our county and beyond who desperately want to see smart developments in our communities. I urge you to stand up for the citizens of our community and our county, to stand up for true smart growth and the rule of law for everyone, and vote to reject this application out of hand. And thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Shapiro. Did you want to enter your testimony?
Yes, please.
It'll be Exhibit 132.
Thank you. Laureen Arnold.
Good morning, Madam Chair and District Council members.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak today.
Ms. Arnold, would you please turn to the zoning hearing examiner?
My name is Lorene Arnold,
Ms. Arnold,
and I live at 4205 Sheridan Street in University Park.
do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you shall give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. I'm a 16-year resident of University Park. Before that, a 10-year resident of Riverdale Park, and a Prince George's County resident for most of my life. I'm a registered architect, a LEED accredited professional, and I participate in the Envision Prince George's County Community Action Team for Transit-Oriented Development, and I am a board member of my local AIA chapter. My husband and I have had a practice at the Riverdale Park Town Center and own a commercial property there. I've been following the development of the Cafritz property for several years, and I've worked with many community members to explore and develop an understanding of the complex planning issues involved. The rezoning of the Cafritz property is extremely important for many reasons. On a county level, it's the potential to generate substantial tax revenue and employment. Prince George's County has a disproportionate amount of residential property. Quality commercial development such as the Cafritz development needs to be promoted to balance the county mix of uses and provide the tax dollars necessary if we wish to fund quality schools and services. In addition, this project will create jobs locally, allowing our citizens to both live and work in the county. Concerning both regional and local sustainability, this property is a smart growth site. By definition, it is a grayfield site. It's previously cleared and developed with post-war housing, and it is positioned to take advantage of existing utility and transportation infrastructures. It's got choices of transit options such as Metro, MARC train, and at least 3 bus routes. It is located next to established community institutions such as churches, parks, and schools. Locating new development on this grayfield supports the county in discouraging development on greenfields and other natural habitats that are further outside the Beltway. With the creation of a new vehicular, pedestrian, and bike connections to the historic Riverdale Town Railroad Square, the project will support the revitalization of this important town center. The CSX track train crossing will create new connections between the east and west sides of Riverdale, promoting easier pedestrian and traffic movement, increasing access to the employment areas at M Square, and linking the town's resources and neighborhoods together with greater connectivity. All of these qualities are essential in creating sustainable communities and are promoted by numerous green rating criteria and smart growth advocates. By utilizing the mixed-use town center guidelines, careful planning and design of this community can create great streets and places and a local sense of place. When the original R55 zoning was established, there was no metro. The area has changed, and the TDOZ Transit District overlay gives us the tools to make relevant decisions with evolving conditions. In addition, the MUTC guidelines provide a process for local input and review with the developer. The partnering that the Cafritz family has already demonstrated through numerous negotiations with the towns indicates that the process will be a productive and collaborative one. I ask that the District Council vote to approve the rezoning of the Cafritz development, and I support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Arnold. Are you submitting your testimony?
It will be Exhibit 133.
Thank you. Joe Kelly. Mr. Kelly, we'll need you to give your address for the record as well today.
Joe Kelly, 4522, excuse me, Tuckerman Street, Riverdale Park, Maryland.
Mr. Kelly, do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you shall give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I absolutely do. I have followed this issue closely since 2007, when it was first presented publicly. I have listened, I have read, I have spoken, I have questioned. And what I have concluded is this. It seems to me that the powers that be have told the powers that want to be how it's gonna be. But it doesn't have to be, and it shouldn't be. You see, I've talked to the people I have probably talked to more people than anybody involved in this. I know you're saying, well, how did you do that? I went door to door. I went door to door in my neighborhood. I went door to door in my town. I went door to door in the surrounding towns. I even attempted to go door to door in the area that's in question. But the undeniable fact is that there are no doors left in that particular area. I talked to the people because I thought it was important. So important that I asked them to write it down for my record. And it's funny, as I went through my record, I discovered that the people have an opinion. That opinion is no thanks. I talked to doctors and lawyers. No thanks. Retired mailmen. No thanks. Teachers, nurses. No thanks. Half the population of Riverdale, Maryland. Gracias. Para gracias, no. I talked to editors. No, thank you. Legendary high school basketball coaches. No thanks, but that reminds me of a story. It took me a long, long time, but I thought it was important to hear everybody's opinion. I admit that I did meet people who support this development. But if I were a politician and I was running on the no thanks ticket, I'd win by a landslide. These people, my neighbors, they have jobs, they have kids, appointments, grandchildren. They couldn't be here today, but I promised them their voices would be heard, and they say no thanks. For the record, I will submit a copy of my remarks. As for my record, I'll just hold on to it. Might come in handy someday.
Remarks will be Exhibit 134.
Mr. Kelly, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate you. Susan Dorn. Excuse me, Ms. Dorn, we'll need you to state your address for the record.
7008 40th Avenue, University Park.
You need to go to the mic. You have to go to the mic, though.
I have a slide presentation to run.
3 minutes,
and I will
though.
put my name and my address into the record. My name is Susan Dorn. My address is...
Okay, Ms. Dorn, before you get started, it takes us a minute to get any slides, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to call the next person.
Thank you.
While that gets set up. The next person is Ms. Sterrett. Ms. Sterrett, are you ready?
I think I'd rather just hold off, if that's okay.
We're going to go through, we have 3 more people who are signed up to speak. We're going to, and then we have the mayor. We're going to go through our speakers list, and then we're going to continue on. There are a few more witnesses that need to be called. So I'm going to ask that we go through this list. We'll give the time. We'll call you back, Ms. Dorn, when we're set up and ready. Ms. Sterrett, I would like for you to be as prepared to go soon after that. We're going to go down to the next person. But if you could be as prepared to go as possible.
Yeah, I'm going to have the same issue because I have some photographs that I wanted to show.
Okay, that's fine. If you can get those ready, then so that we can move on. Cameron Easter.
Mr. Easter, do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you shall give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Members of the County Council, my name is Cameron Easter. I have lived in Prince George's County for most of my life. I am currently a resident of Calvert Hills, a neighborhood adjacent to the Cafritz property. I'm writing to tell you my family and I are strongly against the change in zoning for this property for the following reasons. Allowing this area to be developed at all is a perfect example of poor planning and development, much of which has plagued this county in recent history. Anyone who has lived here for the past 20 years or more would agree that Prince George's County suffers from overdevelopment in certain areas. Number one, the Cafritz property is within 2 miles of the Arts District Hyattsville, University Town Center, downtown College Park, and Campus East, a commercial development that will break ground in the near future. Due to the recent economic climate and proximity to other shopping options, these new developments are not utilized to their full capacity and are faced with added challenges for survival. These other recently redeveloped areas have restaurants, retail stores, grocery stores, and high-density residential areas. Many of these buildings appear to be vacant. Therefore, I believe developing the Cafritz property would have a negative impact on the other new development that has already taken place in the area. Number two, developing the Cafritz property would grossly impact the level of traffic on Route 1. This road is already overcrowded. Anyone who has ever sat in traffic on Route 1 would agree with that. Number three, the Cafritz property currently provides a rural setting that is complementing to this section of Route 1. Many driving this portion of Route 1 would agree it provides a backdrop and natural seclusion for my neighborhood, University Park, the CSX train lines, Metro Green Line, the postal facility, and the Army Reserve building adjacent to the property. Number four, the development of this site would add to the foot traffic in my neighborhood, which I personally would not like. However, I'm strongly in favor of completing the trolley trail walking bike path that runs through the Cafritz property from College Park to Riverdale Park. Number five, finally, if Riverdale wants a nice shopping district, they can redevelop the area surrounding the intersection of East-West Highway and Kenilworth Avenue. It is already zoned commercial and in need of redevelopment. There is a shopping center there, numerous restaurants, gas stations, and various services that are successful and would appreciate a facelift. Some of these businesses could, in fact, occupy Riverdale Town Center while this redevelopment is taking place. This would spark more interest in Riverdale Town Center. My wife and I have chosen to raise our family here, and we are deeply concerned with the future of the area. We look forward to doing our part in making Prince George's County a great community. Thank you for hearing my concerns, your time, and dedication to our county.
Will be Exhibit 134. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Easter. Julie France. Did he submit his testimony, and did you give it a number?
It would be Exhibit 135.
Thank you. Julie France.
Thank you for letting me come speak. I'm here so everyone
Ms.
can...
France?
Yeah.
Do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you shall give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes. I'm here so you can hear a voice that often isn't heard, and that's the voice of the students at the University of Maryland. As a student there, I'm very concerned with the development, both now and in the future. And as the state's flagship university, I think it is a focal point of the county, and development in and around College Park is something that should be a concern. I do agree that there is a need for a grocery store and a need for development, but I don't think this is the right place. For those of you that don't know, College Park is actually classified by the FDA as a food desert, meaning there is no grocery stores or food outlets within the area that are easily accessible to people without cars. This would not help alleviate that problem. This is still students who live in College Park who don't have cars still cannot walk to this development, and so it doesn't solve their problems. with multiple opportunities for development. There's the Book Exchange property that's looking at being developed further. There's also the Applebee's property, which Harris Teeter is exploring the options of developing there. I think that development in the Cafritz property would hamper development in College Park and would prevent it from being the college town that it needs to be for that university to be as successful as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. France. Dana Campbell. Dana Campbell.
Ms. Campbell, do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you shall give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. My name is Dana Campbell, and I've lived in University Park at 6516 41st Avenue for 13 years.
Ms. Campbell, can you speak a little closer to the mic? Yes.
Yes. And I've raised two children who are now 13 and 9. And both have gone through the public schools that is the crux of University Park.
Ms. Campbell, we're still having difficulty
Oh,
hearing
sorry.
you.
I'll try to put it down like that, maybe. I just wanted to go on the record saying that the community that we live in is a very strong community that is full of very intelligent and hardworking, responsible people that are very involved in their community and in the school that is the middle of this community. And I believe that retrofitting an obviously oversized development would quickly and enormously explode the population in this small and under-accessible area and is a huge mistake to the community and to the school that is the middle of it, for which I am the secretary of the PTA and have been for 2 years. And I see this as a real treasure in the area, this school and this community that may be fractionalized by a development that is absolutely the wrong size for the space that it is going to be put into. And I also view that there are many other better ways to think about development than forcing quickly the wrong development that does not carry enough beneficial resources for the people that live around it. And that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Campbell. Do we have anyone else, any other individuals who are here who wish to speak for their 3 minutes at this time? I know there have, Mr. Amster, I know that you were signed up, but I'm keeping, you're special. You're special, and
stipulate to that. Yeah. Very special.
Let me tell you what I'm attempting to do. Before you speak, Mr. Wilner, let me tell you what I'm attempting to do. I'm attempting to give all of the individuals, residents who just wanted to have their 3 minutes and perhaps leave. I do believe that what's going to happen, Ms. Dorn, Ms. Sterick, Mr. Amster, and perhaps Mr. Wilner, there may be some cross. And so I just wanted to give those individuals who, are just their, 3-minute opportunity. So that exhausts the list that I have, and that's why I was doing that. At this point, though, I will go back to, and Mr. Wilner, are you signed up? Did you sign up? I believe so. Okay, I'm sorry if I missed you. I'm sorry if I missed you. Yeah, we'll make sure that we have your information. I'm sure it's on one of the older lists. I'm sure that it's on one of the older lists. Let me ask, Ms. Sterick, Ms. Dorn, are we ready for Ms. Dorn's?
Give me just a moment to organize.
Ms. Dorn, do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you shall give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And we need you to state your address for the record, please.
Thank you. Great. My address is 7008 40th Avenue, University Park, Maryland. And I'd just like these slides to play in the background if they could. What I've learned in this process is so much that all of you seated in front of me today, you're responsible for 36 planning areas in Prince George's County. This is just one of them. Each is unique. There's lots of nuance. But the binding theme is the zoning ordinance and the zoning categories. R55 and comprehensive design zones are the same in all planning areas. And so is MUTC. So what the developer is trying to do here today, double the size of an existing zone universally acknowledged to be the existing center of a town by putting in a new development and simply deeming it to be a town center. If you allow it today, that could be done in any of the other planning areas.
Does any attorney object to any of the photographs? No one wanted to voir dire to authenticate the photographs? All right, go ahead.
I took them also. There's questions.
We'll have to mark the photographs as exhibit what, Madam Examiner?
I'm sorry.
135 is the slideshow.
Make sure we stop the clock. There was a question Ms. Turner had about what they are. What the question?
Oh, sure. I'm sorry. I was going to get to it later, but I appreciate that.
Rolling through and,
sure.
I
sure,
didn't know which
appreciate
ones
that.
you're taking.
Yeah, thank you. These photos were taken by me of Riverdale Park's historic town center. This is the farmers market, and what you're looking at right behind me, in front of me, is Maryland Avenue, which goes right through the parking lot of the farmers market in Riverdale Park. Okay, and I believe all these photos, with the exceptions of the last two, are taken right in that area.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, the last two are traffic on Route 1 at 5 o'clock on the Thursday where I took the photos.
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. So, if you allow this today, the deeming of a new town center, recall that it could be done in any of the planning areas. Here is what the owner could do today without being here before you. The owner could build 150 about single-family homes. Here's what the owner could do with the support of the community, the master plan, the general plan, and the Riverdale Park development. MUTC plan under a residential comprehensive design zone, which is called for in the master plan. They could build about 400 homes, bigger than Bread Box, I'm not a planner, and a grocery store, some retail to support those homes. So what does the owner want to do? Why MUTC? What's not being said, but is true, to build a new town of rental housing. That's right. Not to redevelop any existing town or revitalize an existing town center. On acreage, the tenth of the size of my town across the street, the developer intends to squeeze in 925 units in townhomes, essentially the same number of residents in my town, and 300 parking spaces, a grocery store, and 168,000 square feet of retail and a hotel into a tenth of the space. But no community center, no soccer field, no baseball diamond, possibly a police substation, no proffer of how that's to be funded. Instead, what we have is the Cafritz company town. The development is not compatible with the tree-lined rolling hills of our community. I offer into evidence an advertisement that appeared in the Washington Post in 1924.
Objection, Ms. Dorn. Objection. We can't have any newspaper reports of any kind in this record.
It's not a report, it's an advertisement.
I can't have anything related to a newspaper in this record. Because
it's
you
a
cannot.
historical
It's
record,
not,
I think.
It's not admissible.
I would object to that ruling.
What's your proffer, Ms. Dorn?
My proffer is what it was said about my community in 1924.
Okay, just say it.
Okay, well, I'll read, and it's hard to read, sorry, this print's really small. In 1924, the natural knolls and valleys of University Park will be preserved, avoiding that monotony for which you leave the city and seek the realm of undisturbed nature. The development proposed here today is not compatible with those tree-lined rolling hills of our community. If I could have one last sentence. Technically, legally, the application will not and cannot stand up to the required MUTC criteria or purposes. And although there's not time here today to go through it, I trust that that will adequately be brought out. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak today.
And a correction, that slideshow is Exhibit 136.
Okay. Miss, are we ready for Ms. Sterrett's presentation?
In a moment. I'm having technical difficulties, but I will get it up in about less than 5 minutes, I hope.
Mr. Amster, would you like to go, sir? And then Mr. Wilner.
Mr. Amster, do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you shall give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. My name is Jason Amster. I live at 6905 Pineway in University Park. I'm here to implore you to resist the wishful thinking and political pressure that you face and reject or deny this application. The circumstances of the application remind me of Scripture. Genesis 25, you know the story. Esau was hungry, and he sold his birthright for a bowl of pottage. And he later regretted it, and forever. The circumstances of this case are that the county executive and the applicant are hungry, and they are willing to sell the communities around their development. And what they promise us, what they promise us is a Whole Foods grocery store. That's what they promise us. Beyond that, it's 900 and some residential units and 200,000 of commercial space. We have no idea what will go in those places, if anything. What they really promise us, though, is a Whole Foods. In a burst of candor, the applicant's chief attorney, Mr. Reed, said at a University Park meeting that without Whole Foods, this application would be dead on arrival. At a town hall meeting for Councilman Olson, where our county executive spoke, he indicated in response to a question from me that he would not support this application without the Whole Foods. Indeed, the project is known as the Whole Foods Project. When the Washington Post reports it, they report the Whole Foods hearing was delayed. That's mostly what they say. You will not find 10 informed voters, and you have not heard from anyone at this podium who supports 17,000 additional cars on Route 1. No one supports 995 rental units. No one wants 180,000 square feet of commercial space. No one has stood before you and said, I like the idea that our schools will be overcrowded. No one wants that. No one wants to lose the canopy, and no one wants the environmental degradation. If I might have just a short moment. The 3-4 vote in University Park was based on the fact that the mayor argued vociferously that this application was a done deal. The votes were counted, your votes were counted and committed, and we had to bargain with the devil, and we did. We got an agreement, and we got covenants. The fact is that it is a flawed application, defies common sense. I ask you, please, before you make your decision, come and look at this property. Look at this 37-acre cul-de-sac and do the right thing. There won't be a problem in denying this. Please believe the Cafritzes will return with a plan that is more reasonable. Thank you.
Statement will be Exhibit 137. Okay, before we start, do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you shall give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You can state your name and address while there.
Sure. My name is Sarah Starrett. I live at 4115 Tennyson Road, University Park, Maryland. I've lived in University Park for 19 years. And I'm here today to speak about my community and what I fear that the Cafritz proposed development would do to my community. I do not believe that this proposed development would revitalize, enhance, or improve my community in any way, shape, or form. My community is a residential community. It is a historic district full of single-family houses. And what I'm showing you in this PowerPoint are just some glimpses of the houses, of the trees, of the forest that currently exists on the Cafritz property. This is not a substantially developed mixed-use area. It is a forest of green trees, nothing but green trees. Now, there is a Marktown Center in Riverdale. Oh, I'm sorry. The exhibit is... could you just stop? Just hold off on the exhibit. Thank you very much. Okay. The point that I'm trying to make to you, and I think that this has been made by many, many of my neighbors, is that we live in a historic district of single-family houses, and we live near transit. The College Park Metro is one location, and the Mark Center in the historic downtown mixed-use center, which currently is in Riverdale Park, is a different center. These trees are not developed. They were not listed on any master plan as proposed for development. They were listed in the 1994 master plan as proposed for residential housing only, and that is the highest and best use that they should be put to, given the infrastructure that we have in the neighborhood, and to be compatible with my community. Please don't pave paradise just to put up a Whole Foods with a giant parking lot. Thank you.
Ms. Starrett, is this exhibit different from the other one, and so it should be marked 138? This is your slideshow, or?
Yes. Could I just ask you to, okay, just not to, could I just ask you to pause on the first slide? Mm-hmm. Thank you. The first slide that you see there, that actually is the Cafritz property as it looks today, with the dead end from an abandoned street, which is Maryland Avenue. So you can see this is not a developed mixed-use area of any kind. And then if you could just go to the very end. that's what my neighborhood looks like, and I would like it to stay that way. Thank you. There are, if you'd like me to take you through them, I can. There are a number of photos of the existing forest on the Cafritz property. There are some photos of the existing town center with the farmers market that you see there, which would be, I think, ruined by the Cafritz competing farmers market. There are some photos of the parking lot, the Maryland Avenue parking lot that's been discussed, the train station. And one of the problems here, if I could just add this, there is a bridge, Maryland 410 is on an elevated bridge, and it completely separates that. There you go, right there. You can see that that bridge completely separates the Cafritz property from the existing town center in Riverdale Park, which is just a huge barrier. We have 410 causing a barrier between that and the transit axis, and we also have the railroad tracks causing a barrier, and then we have Route 1 causing a barrier. So this is a landlocked parcel, and that's the point that was being made earlier. Thank you very much.
You never cease to amaze me. Mr. Wilner, I can't believe that
while he's coming, excuse me one second. Mr. Wilner, excuse me one second. Ms. Turner is correct. You all need to know everything that was on the slides, or you're going through it scrolling. Okay. I guess you could keep that up while you... Okay, there.
I'll fall asleep if you don't do that.
Mr. Wilner, do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you shall give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. My name is Ronald Williner. I've been practicing law in Prince George's County since 1960 and lived in the county since 1945. I live presently at 4407 Holly Hill Road, University Park. I have an office in College Park since 1964 and own the office building I now occupy, which is located in Calvert Hills. I once owned the executive building in a College Park building about 40,000 square feet, less than a half a mile from the Cafritz property with David Hillman of Southern Management, and I'm presently managing 13 stores on behalf of a client downtown in College Park and have been representing almost every property owner in downtown College Park, Riverdale, over the past 50 years, managing, buying, selling, or renting property. The master plan stated in it, just as an aside, that studies were done for that plan and show that the area has more than enough land zoned for commercial uses. Whole Foods would be placed in could be placed in the failed University Town Center, the failed Greenwood. We've heard that. There's all these places, I would save my time, that this Whole Foods can go into. But please understand this. This proposed development is not to bring Whole Foods to Prince George's County. It is a stalking horse to rezone this property to apartments and townhouses to create 975 residences to replace the 173 residences now permitted. As R55, the property is presently worth about $9 million. The applicant indicates at completion, the assessed value of the residential component of this project is to be $206 million, while the indicated assessed value of the commercial component is only $52 million. The hotel is listed at $25 million and the office space at $8 million. And I'll tell you, they'll never build a hotel in an office space. There's too much vacant office space in College Park now. Renting, by the way, for about $23, $24 a foot. They're hoping to get $35. It's ridiculous. They don't get 35 at the courthouse. The commercial assessment is inflated because no way is Whole Foods going to pay the suggested rent of $30 a foot. My guess is more likely to be $20, but even at that bloated figure, this residential component is still 4 times greater than the commercial component. And that's where the money is. And that's what this is about, the money. The applicant proposes 160,000 square feet of commercial space, which about 40,000 of it will be taken up by Whole Foods. There's a lot of commercial vacant space in College Park. You can just drive up and down the road and you'll see it all. As I said, the applicant, what's going to happen is when this doesn't develop into that extra commercial space, they'll be back here asking to add additional apartments. Well, I'm going to skip that because that's been mentioned. Well, let me just say this. I've been renting stores in College Park for over 30 years. I've talked to numerous developers over the years who tell me there's great demand to put boutiques and hotels in College Park. I've tried to get such stores at lower rents and a hotel in College Park, but have never succeeded. There's not one boutique in College Park, and the project to build a hotel in downtown College Park failed. This ought to be at the Metro. If this project was at the Metro Overlay Zone, no problem. But putting it where it is ridiculous, and I just hope that you look at it, because we're going to pay for this in the future when we have the vacancies either created there, which I don't think will ever be built, but, parts of it. Whole Foods will work. It'll be a Whole Foods shopping center, and it'll be residential, and that's what it's all about, residential.
Thank you, Mr. Wellner. At this point, I know.
I've been waiting for this. I can't help it, but I've been waiting for this for. That's the only reason I kept coming back. I approved him to become a lawyer, and I've been upset about that for the last 30 years.
28 years ago, he interviewed me for the bar, and I've been waiting 28 years to ask him questions under oath. But I'll take a pass.
Well, Mr. Wellner, I must say that I, too, am surprised. But nonetheless, I'm okay. I think what we should do is to take a little recess at this point. We have a few people we have a few more to go. Let's take 30 minutes. 30 minutes, please. So we're in recess for 30 minutes.
That was different. I thought surely we were going to see a claim. She's actually, she was the best one of all. I was like, let's get a good. No, he actually, she was very on point about what he said. Yeah. No, what you're really. Time to get the court.